The BRICS nations are making a bold move, one that could have far-reaching implications for the global economy. Brazil and China have announced a significant agreement marking a new chapter in their economic relationship. They will trade in their local currencies, the Brazilian real and the Chinese yuan, bypassing the US dollar. This decision has the potential to reshape global trade, making it more diversified and less dependent on a single currency. It signals a shift away from the US dollar, which has been the dominant currency for decades. The BRICS alliance consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, representing a significant portion of the world's population and economic output. These emerging economies are becoming increasingly influential on the global stage. Challenging the traditional economic powers, they seek to reduce their reliance on the US dollar, aiming for a more balanced and fair global financial system. The recent agreement between China and Brazil is a step in that direction, showcasing their commitment to this new financial strategy. It reflects a growing desire for a more multipolar world, where power and influence are more evenly distributed. This move has been in the making for some time, with BRICS nations gradually building the framework for such agreements. BRICS nations have been exploring alternatives to the US dollar for years, seeking to create a more resilient and independent economic bloc. They have established institutions like the New Development Bank, which aims to support infrastructure and sustainable development projects. This bank aims to provide an alternative to the World Bank and the IMF, offering more options for developing nations. It supports using local currencies in international trade, reducing the dominance of the US dollar. The decision by Brazil and China is a sign of the times, reflecting the evolving dynamics of international finance. It reflects the changing dynamics of the global economy, where emerging markets are playing a more prominent role. The US dollar has long been the dominant currency for international trade, but its position is now being questioned. However, its dominance is being challenged by the rise of other currencies and economic blocs. The rise of emerging economies and the growing use of local currencies signal a shift towards a more multipolar world, where no single currency or country holds all the power. The use of local currencies in international trade is not new. In fact, it dates back centuries when trade was often conducted using a variety of regional currencies. However, it has gained significant momentum in recent years, driven by various economic and political factors. This resurgence is partly due to the concerted efforts of BRICS nations, which include Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. They see it as a strategic move to reduce their dependence on the US dollar, which has long dominated global trade. Trading in local currencies offers several advantages. It reduces transaction costs, making trade more affordable. It also minimizes exchange rate risks, providing more stability in international transactions. This makes trade more efficient and predictable, fostering better business relationships. Additionally, it allows countries to preserve their foreign exchange reserves, which can be crucial during economic uncertainties. The move towards local currencies is also driven by geopolitical factors as nations seek to assert their economic sovereignty. Some countries are increasingly wary of the US dollar's dominance and its implications for their economies. They see it as a tool of US foreign policy, which can sometimes be wielded to exert pressure. They are particularly concerned about the impact of US sanctions, which can be economically crippling. By using local currencies, they believe they can gain more autonomy and control over their financial decisions. The increasing use of local currencies is a clear sign of a changing world where economic power is becoming more distributed. It reflects the growing influence of emerging economies, which are playing a more significant role on the global stage. It also highlights the desire for a more multipolar world, where power is shared among multiple nations rather than being concentrated in a few. Brazil and China stand to benefit significantly from trading in their currencies. It will reduce their reliance on the US dollar. It will also strengthen their bilateral trade relationship. For Brazil, trading in real offers several advantages. It will reduce the cost of imports. It will also make Brazilian exports more competitive. This is particularly important given Brazil's dependence on commodity exports. China also benefits from trading in yuan. It promotes the internationalization of its currency. It reduces China's exposure to fluctuations in the US dollar. The agreement between Brazil and China is mutually beneficial. It strengthens their economic ties. It also reduces their dependence on the US dollar. It sets an example for other countries looking to diversify their currency holdings. The New Development Bank, or NDB, plays a crucial role in promoting local currencies. Established by the BRICS nations, the NDB provides an alternative to the World Bank and the IMF. It supports projects that promote sustainable development. The NDB is committed to promoting the use of local currencies. It provides loans and grants in the currencies of its member countries. This reduces exchange rate risks for borrowers. It also promotes the development of local currency bond markets. The NDB's efforts are critical in challenging the dominance of the US dollar. It provides an alternative source of financing for developing countries. It promotes the use of local currencies in international trade. The NDB is a testament to the growing cooperation among BRICS nations. It demonstrates their commitment to creating a more multipolar world. Section 5. China's bold move, challenging the dollar. China has been at the forefront of promoting the use of its currency, the yuan. Over the past decade, it has made significant strides in this direction. It has taken several steps to internationalize the yuan, aiming to reduce its reliance on the US dollar and increase its influence in global markets. This includes signing currency swap agreements with other countries, which facilitate trade and investment without the need for the US dollar. It has also established offshore yuan clearing banks in major financial centers around the world, making it easier for international businesses to use the yuan. China's efforts are bearing fruit as the yuan's presence in global finance continues to grow. The yuan is now a significant reserve currency held by central banks around the world. It is increasingly used in international trade, reflecting China's expanding role in the global economy. China's growing economic might and its commitment to promoting the yuan are challenging the US dollar's dominance. This shift is reshaping the landscape of global finance. China's recent decision to impose tariffs on US goods is significant. It marks a new phase in the economic rivalry between the two superpowers. It is a retaliatory measure against US tariffs on Chinese goods, highlighting the tit-for-tat nature of their trade disputes. It reflects the growing trade tensions between the two countries, which have far-reaching implications for the global economy. It also highlights China's willingness to use its economic leverage to achieve its strategic goals. China's actions are a sign of its growing confidence on the world stage. It is no longer content with being a rule-taker in the global economy. Instead, it seeks to be a rule-maker. It wants to shape the rules of the game, influencing global economic policies to its advantage. It is challenging the existing global order, signaling a new era in international relations and economic power dynamics. Section 6. De-dollarization, a global trend. The move away from the US dollar is not limited to BRICS nations. Several countries are exploring alternatives. They are concerned about the risks associated with the US dollar's dominance. They are also seeking to reduce their dependence on the US financial system. The reasons for de-dollarization vary. Some countries are unhappy with US foreign policy. They see the US dollar as a tool of US hegemony. They're concerned about the impact of US sanctions. Other countries are motivated by economic factors. They want to reduce their exposure to fluctuations in the US dollar. They also want to promote the use of their currencies. De-dollarization is a complex issue. It is driven by various factors. It has significant implications for the global economy. It remains to be seen how far it will go. Section 7. The Geopolitical Landscape. The move towards local currencies and de-dollarization is taking place against a backdrop of significant geopolitical shifts. The global balance of power is shifting. Emerging economies are becoming more assertive. The rise of China is a significant factor. China's economic and military might is growing. It is challenging the United States' position as the sole superpower. The relationship between the United States and China is complex. It is characterized by both cooperation and competition. The trade war between the two countries has heightened tensions. The move away from the US dollar is partly a reflection of these geopolitical shifts. It is a sign of the desire for a more multipolar world. It is also a challenge to the existing global order. Section 8. The future of global trade. The move towards local currencies and de-dollarization has significant implications for the future of global trade. It could lead to a more fragmented global financial system. It could also make international trade more complex and costly. However, it could also lead to a more balanced and equitable global trading system. It could give emerging economies more influence. It could reduce the dominance of the US dollar. The future of global trade is uncertain. It will depend on various factors. These include the policies of major economies, technological advancements, and geopolitical developments. The move towards local currencies and de-dollarization is a trend worth watching. It has the potential to reshape the global economy. Section 9. Conclusion: A New World Order. The agreement between Brazil and China to trade in their local currencies is a sign of the times. It reflects the changing dynamics of the global economy. It also highlights the growing influence of emerging economies. The move away from the US dollar is a complex issue. It is driven by a combination of economic and geopolitical factors. It has significant implications for the future of global trade and the global financial system. The world is moving towards a more multipolar order. Emerging economies are playing an increasingly important role. The agreement between Brazil and China is a sign of things to come. It is a reminder that the world is changing. The old order is giving way to a new one.